Sometimes you go out making videos about survival experiences, and sometimes you find yourself in one. Oh. Anyone that's ever seen any of the videos that I've made knows that I'm a big proponent of primitive living skills. I feel like they should be a foundational knowledge base, because if you break things, you lose things, you play the what if game long enough, you're eventually going to get to a place where it's, what if I don't have shoes? What if I don't have a knife? What if I don't have my equipment? There's always going to be primitive living skill stuff, but I think stuff like that isn't as applicable for most people in modern day. If we look at what happened when the hurricane happened, everybody loaded up their RVs and they went to another state. If we look at California when the fires happened, again, people loaded up in their RVs and they went to another state. So I think there's some massive amounts of value in having the capacity to keep a pre-staged vehicle, maybe a vehicle that's got some stabilized gas and has some water that can be there for a big duration of time. Maybe there's some cash in the lockbox in it or something. And just having it staged well enough that you can say, okay, there's a fire coming. I got 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, and it's time to go. Just like with anything, if you don't try it out and you don't practice it, you're not going to know where the holes in your plan are and how to mitigate them. So this weekend, we're going to Moab. What's up?
What?
Hi.
Hi.
Some time now I've been building on this trailer. I bought it in pieces and I have been assembling this thing, and it has been the biggest educational process because it looks simple but it's super complicated. Once you start building on things, you realize, you know, this has to be a certain diameter and I don't have the shower piece or whatever, and I need a specific screw depth, and I screwed this up, so I made a new one. So anyway, there's a lot of education to be learned there and a lot of information to be learned. But once you have built something like this, now if something breaks or something goes wrong, I know what it is. I know where it is. I can get in there and fix it. Like this mechanism right here, I have no idea how to do this. I YouTubed this and I built the whole thing, but before I wouldn't have known how to create something like that. But now if it breaks, I'm the one that made it. So I'm the one that can fix it in the field pretty easily. We're going to go through my rig a little bit while we're here and talk to you about why I chose this stuff. The trailer I'll hit briefly and we'll cover it in more depth later when it's actually built. Right now it's drivable, but there's nothing completed. I've got electronic components and stuff in there. But the idea behind this trailer is it's extremely off-road capable. There's no axle. It's got tambourines underneath there. I pulled it over some sand dunes yesterday. I pulled it up this trail, and this is a trail that you kind of need a four-wheel drive vehicle to get to. So it gives me more capacity to travel bigger distances and places that I wouldn't normally be able to go. And the further away from people you can go, the better, because now you have access to campsites and land and area that other people just can't go to. As far as off-grid is concerned, this box has all my electrical components inside of it. There's going to go a generator in there. I'm going to move my tent to the top, and this will be kind of a contained device with a heater, shower, electrical generator, solar, that kind of thing. So it's a good rigid-sided shelter that is highly mobile, renewable. I can put water in it, drain water, and just kind of go anywhere and live out of it for a big duration of time, as long as I've got access to more water and more food. Okay, about the vehicle. I'm a big fan of Jeeps. I also kind of like, I'm going to call it the African and European concept of expeditions. So I bought a 200,000 mile Lexus, and I've been building on it. It's got 35-inch tires, lockers, snorkel. It gives me some good off-road capacity. And I want the ability to stay out as long as possible. So part of that is I got to have a place for a spare tire. When you get a 35-inch tire, they don't fit up underneath. So I added this bumper. This is an Expedition 1 bumper. The Expedition 1 bumper is going to give me the capacity to add 2 5-gallon tanks of water or fuel, 1 high lift jack that I don't have in it currently, backup lights, a spare tire, and I can pop that off if I want. So if I need to lose some weight, I'll just take the whole thing off, the whole swing arm off. But if I want to carry more stuff, I can throw it on. It really doesn't weigh very much when there's no water in it, but it gives me more capacity, something to stand on, big bright backup lights, spare tire, and it just expands the capacity of the vehicle and gives you external storage places so that you can carry things. Like I did the White Room Trail here a few months ago or a few weeks ago, and having 2 extra 5 gallons of fuel was super handy, because this is basically a Toyota Sequoia engine with a 4Runner gas tank, so you need a little more fuel in there. As far as keeping stuff cold is concerned, it's a nice thing to have. It's not a need unless you're packing meat, or if you want to add meat to your situation. So I've got a Wopez back there you've seen in previous videos, and I run electricity off the engine while I'm driving to keep it running, and it'll go 3 or 4 days without any electrical input of recharging, and run this little fridge here. And that gives me the ability to have sodas and stuff, but it also gives me the ability to bring hamburger, deer meat, whatever. So if this was a legit big duration survival situation where you had to move to another city or state or whatever, if you run into some roadkill, if you're out hunting, you've got to have a place that you can put some of the meat. I could put most of a deer in that thing if I packed it tight, and a garbage sack worth of meat, and that's going to be almost a month worth of food if you're eating a steak every day. So that's some expansion capacity. One of the problems with hunting is processing the meat. You can smoke it and you can take care of that kind of thing, but now you got to be there for a couple days, or at least a full day of smoking if you're doing it right. And just having the ability to process an animal and throw it in the fridge or a freezer and drive on, like, that mobility and that capacity is something that I wouldn't want to go without if I don't have to. It's really nice to be able to just grab it and go, especially if there's fire coming or something else I'm trying to get away from. you got caramel M&Ms. Survival M&Ms. Is that what those are? Yeah. Super important. Nice. Another thing to consider is extraction. So if you're gonna get stuck, having the ability to get yourself unstuck by yourself is kind of important. Should we winch it up this thing?
Yeah.
Should we break our axles?
Sure.
No. That's a no-no.
Oh, is that it? I mean, you're the one driving.
It's fair, it's fair. That bike's gonna go right up it.
This looks so cool in real life.
You don't want to stay away from the road. Keep coming up. Keep coming. You're good there.
I got a pretty good angle up here. I'm not gonna lie.
Good. Yeah. I've got a Warren winch up front, some lights so that I can make the nighttime into daytime, and then I've got some Yankum ropes in the back, a little Yankum rope kit. That way I can self-recovery. It's really important because if you are bugging out or you are in a bad situation, a lot of times people can be helpful, but at the same time, a lot of times people can be useless. So if you are the one that has the equipment that can get yourself where you need to be and you can rely on yourself, that's kind of important. We overheated, so let's game that out real quick. If I was in a legit survival situation, grid down or something, the vehicle's done for now. I wouldn't be able to move it without extra parts. So one thing you can have if this is a concern is a temperature sensor, a thermostat, and a water pump. If I had those things, I could swap it out and I can put water in here to cool it down. Now, I'm not in a survival situation, so what I'm gonna try to do right now.
Cybertruck.
That was so noisy. They're supposed to be quiet dumpsters. So I'm not in a survival situation, so what I'm gonna do is get the temperature down as fast as possible so that I don't overheat the engine. I'm gonna put water in it, which means I'm gonna have to completely flush the radiator, but so be it. And I'm gonna go down the road, either to a hotel or a gas station or something. I'm okay, thank you.
That guy's so nice.
So I'm gonna go down the road and you can park in a Walmart or get a hotel if you want. I've got a
camper on the back, so I don't really need to. But the Napa, it's Sunday and the Napa is closed. So tomorrow morning, I will basically be putting new components in this until it runs and hoping that it works out. Until then, we cool it off some more. Remember, if you put water in here, replace it with coolant later. I just want to pour straight. I don't even drink and I can't pour straight. Quick, tell me a dad joke. Funny joke, dad joke.
Unless you tell a funny dad joke.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Europe.
No, you're up who?
The European. It's still steaming. Might have cooked all the antifreeze out of it. The coolant. Nobody's open today, so I'll probably just go park and then tomorrow morning get some parts.
Fair enough. I was gonna say, if you need a ride to the Conoco, I'm happy to help.
I appreciate it. We're probably just, I'm sure once I cool it down, it'll get me in.
At least that's Super 8 for sure.
Yeah. And then I'll probably just park, and I got a buddy that's in Moab heading this direction. If he can grab me, you know, a thermostat, water pump, and a sensor, there's nothing else left to replace.
Exactly.
So that'll be.
You got all the tools on board for it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I could rebuild the engine with the tools I got. I just have the parts. So
Hey, best of luck.
thank you.
People are nice
People don't suck.
most of the
People in the
time.
comment section are either awesome or they suck. Sorry.
So don't be the person who sucks.
Yeah, don't suck. Suck less. Appears to be.
Want me to look?
Yeah, see if it's pouring out the bottom or if that's just me spilling all over the place.
Mm.
Is there a hose that's... Yeah, it's just leaking. Because I can't pour straight. When I stop pouring it, does it. So we're way low. I can't believe how low we are. Like, I think my heat temperature gauge was malfunctioning because it was just right in the middle.
That's not good.
Well, I just got to replace the sensor for it. The problem is then it overheats and I don't know that it's getting hot. Pulling that trailer down the highway 80 miles an hour. Now, finally, I took like 4 gallons.
It's a lot of water.
So we were out of coolant, which is good to know. Okay, I'm out of coolant, which is good to know. It boiled it off. Now, it either boiled it off because the water pump's not working or the thermostat's not working, but I think it's a sensor because my heat sensor is right center and I didn't know I was overheating until I saw steam. So,
Smoke.
if this happens to you, pull over. If you continue to drive with something in a bad condition like that, you're gonna blow head gaskets and warp the engine, and it can go from like a $12 part to possibly an engine replacement. Don't replace engines unless you have to. Okay, we are attached.
Holy smokes, the flies.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.